In the game of life, the bold are guided by two unapologetic groups: the unmuters who speak their truth, and the rebels who live life on their own terms. These are their stories. Welcome to episode 3 of Unmute with Priya. Today I am here with a good friend and soul sister who got me through my spiritual awakening. This is Sonia. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, so when and Sonia will explain a little bit about her story and when her awakening started. But when I didn't even know I was in an awakening until I talked to Sonia, and it was right before COVID. So just the whole story and the timeline is pretty amazing. And just what we're actually seeing on our screen right now is pretty wild. But welcome, Sonia. And thank you for being here with me.
Thank you
I'm
so much for
excited.
inviting me.
Yeah, so tell me. So we met how many years ago?
Exactly about 12 years, 11 years ago.
11 years
11
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
My younger son, his name is Abram, and he had a speech delay. And so you came to my house. You wanted to be, you were his speech therapy. And when I saw you, I, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I explain this girl that I needed talk to her about what's going on with me? Because so since I remember, and now I'm thinking about it because I was just thinking about this interview, and I was like, I remember since I was young, I was about 9 years old, and I was always thinking like, it has to be more than this. Like I felt like I was like there, but it wasn't enough. I needed to know something, and I didn't know what. But now I was just thinking about maybe an hour ago, I was like, and I was looking at my husband, and I was like, I always asked for that person since I was young.
Yeah.
Since 9 years old, I was like, I want a person like this, and I want to marry, be with someone that loves me, and now, it's like everything comes to place now that I understand that your thoughts and whatever you ask for comes to you, and it takes long sometimes, and
Yeah.
you don't understand why it takes so long, or sometimes you don't even understand till you later on think about, okay, yeah, I remember I asked for this, and I remember, you know having that feeling of having certain things. And
I love that you say that because I think I've seen that happen in my life where the things that you think about and the things that you say show up.
Mhm.
But it works against you. So for the longest time until I got control of my thoughts, I was thinking about the things I didn't want and saying out loud the things that I didn't want, and that was showing up. Like I wasn't aware at all about how I was creating everything that was happening in my life and
You do.
everything.
You hear, sometimes people in the internet saying, okay, you need to ask for what you want, but you really don't get it until something like that happens to you, and you have to be very conscious of what do you want, and feel that you already have it. Like, yeah, my life is going to be like that, and then you'll see it, and that's it. You don't even have to pray for it, and no, please, I want it to be like that. No, you just have to visualize it, and it comes to be. It happens to be.
So, for those of you who don't know, I was a speech therapist in my past life, and so I'm still doing speech with Unmute with Priya. It's just in a different capacity. So when I did meet Sonia years ago, I was seeing her little guy. He was only 18 months at the time for speech.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, you were going through your awakening, or it was starting, or were you right in the middle of it, or tell us about that.
For me was like so smooth, like it was just little bit by little bit. It was like, because I heard a lot of stories, yours was one of them, but that something just boom happened, and everything is just explode, and you just don't know what's going on, which is not good. I mean, because it's really scary, and it's really hard to have all like something literally just you know explode, and your life change, and you feel like you're dying. And it happened to me very slowly. I was questioning a lot.
What kind of things did you question?
So everything, oh my gosh, everything. I remember I was questioning the government, and I was questioning the news, and I was like so mad at the world. Why did the people lie to us? Even though maybe everything we're saying was true. I don't know, but in my heart, I feel that I call it the seven sense that you have.
Yeah.
That you know, and you know, nobody has to show you evidence. You just know that this is not right. You just know that they are lying to you. You just know that they're manipulating you. So I was really mad to the system.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that really started for me was religion. You know, I was I was growing up. I was Catholic. I'm still believing, in my religion, but in a way different, you know, in a different way, not like before. I remember I was very, into God, into Jesus Christ, which I love. I think He's part of my life too. But um, one day I was, it was a lot of thoughts in my mind, and I was like, I'm going crazy. But before that, just right before that, my thoughts were just inviting my brain. All the time I was thinking so much, and I was like, I'm gonna go crazy, because I remember having probably, some problems at work, and then I was watching, I was washing my dishes and things like that, and I was just going through that problem, and I was, having each of the person that I have the problem or argument with as the person, like they shouldn't say this, and I start all over about it. It was just my mind
You
was,
were in a spiral.
yes,
Yeah.
so much, and I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how to stop, and so
That was me the last 3 years.
oh god, it was so bad.
I didn't. It's like you
Couldn't
go
stop.
round and round and round, and then one day you're out.
Yeah, so for me it was like I don't know what to do. So I remember watching this video with Oprah and Eckhart Tolle, and he was talking a little bit how to calm your mind, and I was like, god, I need that so bad. I How do you do that?
Yeah.
So I listened to his audiobook. I do have the book, is The Power of Now.
But I love that book.
I love it.
You told me to get that.
Yes, that was literally my lifesaver. Like it was, I was listening to the audiobook, and it helped me at the point where I was at the moment, like in the present moment, when you don't feel anything but love and compassion and understanding for everything around you. And those little gaps, not kidding you, it's about 5 seconds long, if any.
Yeah.
And it was like I was in another dimension, just being by my, in the present moment, breathing and just understanding that everything around it's okay.
Yeah.
There's no problems. You just build those problems in your head, but at this right moment is not problem at all. It doesn't have any time of, I mean, of course, when someone comes and open the door and try to get you away, then you have to react and act. But
Yeah.
when you're in the present moment, everything should be and is supposed to be okay.
Present moment is.
Yeah,
It's When you're in it, it's pretty amazing.
yeah.
Right?
So for me, it was like, okay, I was, right there, and I feel comfortable thinking about stuff. It kind of really, really calmed down. I feel good, and then thinking about the system, and I was mad at it, and then my religion, and one time was so bad that it's like a death, literally, like you are dying, you're not feeling the same thing, your world is not the same. And I have to talk to my husband because he's a very, I love him, he's a really good man, but he was not anymore, but he was a person that he was very strict religion, like, I'm a Catholic, and we don't have to think about something else, so we don't have to go and look for another religion. So for me it was like, okay, like I'm Catholic too. But then I start having these questions, and then one time I literally started to cry, and I felt like I was dying, and I told my husband, I need you to sit down, and I want you to pay attention to me. And I told him, something is going on with me, and I don't know what it is. I feel that I'm dying. And he was like, what? Like, he didn't have no idea, like, what's going on. And I said, I just want you to be with me. Like, I don't want you to understand what's going on. I just want you to be by me because I'm literally going crazy. And he says, what do you mean? I said, I don't believe in religion anymore. And he was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I want you to understand. And I told him just like that. Your soul and your spiritual life is yours, and mine is mine.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that. And he saw me like, I guess he's like, oh my gosh, this girl is going to die right here. So I'm just going to go with it, and I'm just going to let her do her stuff, because he did, And then little by little, I was having these spiritual, like a death. It was like
It
that.
is. I mean, when you
Because,
have ego death, it's
yeah,
a thing.
that's what
It's
it
a
was.
real thing.
Yes, I
You
remember.
really feel like you're.
Oh, it was crazy because I was like, okay, now I don't think the same way I thought before. And I have all my family where, Mexicans, we were like all the time together. And if I ever said, yeah, religion, I don't believe in religion, or I think I'm going crazy because I believe that the government is lying to us and we are in a matrix, it would be an explosion there. So I mute myself. I couldn't.
You muted yourself?
I muted myself.
Yeah.
I did. I,
Yeah.
I was like, what do I do? So yeah, I remember one time watching, watching my dishes and just getting on my knees. And thank God my kids were at school and my husband was working, but I literally cried so much. And I was like, what's going on with me? I don't understand. Like, oh, I'm gonna go crazy, and my husband's gonna leave me.
Yeah.
And do I still love him? I mean, it was just so much. Like I said, it was literally a death.
Yeah.
That ego did that you go through. And then I wanted to say, I wanted to talk to someone, but literally I don't have no one. I didn't have no one that I can explain how I felt.
That's when you tried to talk to me.
Yes, I
Yeah.
remember. Do you remember we were at J.C. Penney's?
Yes. This was around, I want to say 2018,
2018,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make
And
sure this is still
every
recording.
time I look at you, I'm like, I need to talk to you. Like, I need to talk to that girl. I need to. And every time I see you, I'm like, oh, I think I saw you before once, but I didn't say nothing because I didn't know how to say all this, that, what's going on with me. So I remember, look, I saw you and I'm like, Priya, how you doing? We hug. And I said, we need to meet. Remember I said, we need to meet, we need to talk. And you're like, okay, that's good. Just let me know when we're able to and whatever. And I said, okay. And then, I don't know, something happened maybe a year later, and I was running in my trail mail. And you post something on Facebook, and you said
it
something.
was a Shakira.
She was a Shakira, some songs, and I'm like, I'm literally listening to it right now. And then you said, now we really have to meet.
Yeah.
And that was in March of 2020.
Yeah.
So,
and so March of 20 and my awakening, you described yours being gradual. Mine was bam, hit my head and explosive. So and then it's 2020. What happened in 2020? And so it was just like everything blew up. Everything blew up. Back to Gilberto, your husband. Like, how did he? So my experience, like, I was in a relationship and we couldn't relate anymore. The person was not going to understand what I was going through. That it was more like, okay, I'll just put up with you, but I had to keep everything hidden.
Really
I had to mute myself because it was never going to be understood, and I felt like I was living two lives, one with this person and just being a certain way, and then I had you and other people where I could talk about
crazy stuff.
The Galactic Federation, the fact that there's some weird light pattern happening on the screen right now that we can't even figure out.
No, I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm not going to question it. It's interesting. Yeah. So how did Gilberto? Did he end up supporting you, or did he just say, okay, we have separate beliefs and we still love each other?
Yes, a little bit of that. I guess that also it was a process too. At the beginning, he couldn't understand. He was like, I don't understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna listen to you and I'm gonna support you. He was and it was really scary because I was already about 20 years, almost 20 years, no, about 17 years, 18 years into our marriage. So we have 4 kids, and I was like, do I have to leave everything I believe right now to follow, my marriage and my kids, or what do I do? So I was really scared, but my awakening was in a point where I got it. I couldn't hide it. I couldn't be someone else that I wasn't anymore. So he, things happened to me, and through my awakening, with Lucas when I met Lucas.
And you'll have to tell us who Lucas is.
Okay, so one time that's been about 7 years, probably. I was meditating, and in my room, like I said, my kids were not here; they were schooled, and my husband was at work. And it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I started to meditate, and then out of a sudden, I was in a state of meditation when I literally was up there, like you know, it was in the present moment, and this being came to me, and but the thing is, so the way I see things is visual, like I close my eyes and I see things.
You see things.
So
was this something that you always had?
no, I don't know. Like I remember meditating before. I could say it's always happened to me, but it was like more gradually. Like it was a process too, where it was stronger by the time. Yeah. And so I saw this human being. I think it was a human because the silhouette of it was like a kid, like a 12-year-old boy. I feel like that, but it didn't have any eyes or mouth or nothing. It was just literally a silhouette of light, you know. And I know I did everything when contact like that happened to you, you know exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's so clear. And I knew it was a 12-year-old boy, and I remember, and I don't know if it has an age, but the way he looked for me was like a 12-year-old. And then he went by my side on my right side, and he touched my shoulder. And when he touched my shoulder, he communicated with me, not verbally, mm-hmm. but it was like telepathically. Telepathically. Mm-hmm. So, and he just touched my shoulder, and he just said everything, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay. That's what he said. I didn't ask for information. He just came to me and said that. But when he say everything, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay, everything was okay, everything it's okay, for me it meant everything from the beginning of God creating the universe to infinity and beyond. It's like everything. And I felt that information on me, and I saw the space, and I saw the galaxies, and I saw it. So he said everything. It's okay. It's kind of like a divine plan that God has for us. Yeah. And so, of course, I felt this love that I never had felt before in my life. Like it's not from this world. I mean, I have 4 kids, and I'm a good mom, and I love them to death. I can jump to fire for them. I can do everything for them. The love of mother does that. But that love that I felt, that I wasn't like giving the love, but I was receiving. You were receiving it. It was like God loves, because I'm like literally my tears are started coming down because I couldn't even talk. The love was so intense, yeah, that I know for a fact that it's not from this world. So then I thought, my God, if love is like that, it's like, that is something big. So of course, he left, and I opened my eyes, and I couldn't stop crying, and I wanted to talk to my husband about it. I actually did, because when things like that happen, he's my person. So I went, and Gilberto, this happened, and I just heard, and he was like, "What do you mean he didn't speak to you verbally? Like he speak to you?"
Was he still thinking?
Yeah, like, yeah. He and I always tell you, I feel that he's very awakened person on his own way. Yeah. Because everybody somehow, like for me, just the way he is with everything around him and the way he's as a person, I know he's such a awake person. Yeah. He just doesn't have to be the way we are. You know what I mean? The way we believe and things like that. But he got it. Now he does understand and believe me. But it took me a long time. If we think about it, it's about 12 years ago now, or 11 years ago. It actually was after 2012. And now I'm thinking, I knew 2012 was like an end, like something else new begins. Yeah. And now I get it. Like, it was a little process, little bit by little bit. Yeah. And that 2013, it took me a year for me to totally, like, awake.
And I think that's when I started coming to your house to see you around then.
So I think everything is just...
Yeah.
it's no coincidence that things happen.
No.
And that it meant to be. But so for me, the way I think is I'm really slow on the way of awakening, and I feel pretty comfortable that way. For you, it was something that is really fast, and you just had to do everything.
For me, yeah, I think I was
After.
taking like 6 different certification programs. I have about 20 different courses
This expansion that you
that I still haven't finished from 2020, and but I still want to do it. Um, yeah,
yeah.
and I had to do it alone. Like even my family doesn't know about anything that I went through. And most of my friends are finding out about it just from me doing this on YouTube or even on Instagram. But as far I had my group of friends that I met from all the courses, and they're all over the world, and I've only met them on video, and that's what got me through it. And we get on screen because this is, I mean, you'd sign up for a course, and then you were in this group together, and we'd get on screen and practice with each other, and it like there was no getting to know you. It was like with the first minute, it was like we were going deep with each other. And everybody, all of my friends were going through it. And then as I look at my friends online now, everybody's in 2024 is starting their business. Things are taking off for them, and they're coming back into alignment. So I feel like this 4-year period was, it was intense.
So for me, like I said, I'm really close to my family, and I try to explain a little bit to my sister, a little bit to my brother. My brother, he's just too much. He's all the time. So what did the master said? Like, what did your spiritual guy said? Just because he makes fun of me. But I don't get mad. Before I want them to understand.
Now
and
you
that's
don't care.
what happened when you start awakening. You want everybody to understand.
I wanted everybody to understand, and I wanted everybody to change and come along with me and learn about the different dimensions.
Yes, but you can now. Now you understand that they're on their own process, and that it's okay. That it's okay if they never will awaken this life, because then it wasn't meant to be.
I was hanging on for dear life. Yeah, it was just like no, I can't.
No, and the thing is, when that happens, and I feel like when that happens, there's no way back. That's the thing. You can even like said, okay, I'm gonna forget about this. You can.
Right.
You can. It's you change completely. I remember looking at myself at the mirror, and I didn't know who that person was. Literally, I was like, I don't, I didn't know who I was for a long time. Thank God, like I said, I have, we are very close. Like, I never had a problem growing up. My father was a really loving father. My mom, just the way I am, and my mom, my abuela, my grandma was. They're very like loving and understanding. So I never had a problem with them. But it came to me very little by little till it got to explode somehow. It's like a lot of pressure. It builds up and then it happens. But yeah, so yeah, I guess now I'm muting myself by speaking out because I couldn't before. And now I don't really mind if people doesn't understand. And I don't go out there and say, oh, this happened to me. But it's really nice when you have someone that you can talk about.
Yeah.
The feelings and experiences and things like that.
Well, when you can talk about Lemurians and Arcturians and nobody's questioning it, you're like, okay, I can.
Even Atlantis, they just said they just think they didn't believe. It's just something that people makes up, and then you see that the evidence and the ocean and things like that, and people are like, yeah, they don't even.
But it's
they
okay.
Don't see. Yeah.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. And it's okay. But knowing that there were many civilizations before that is like crazy.
So one of the things that you did for me when at a really hard time is an Akashic reading. So I do Akashic work too, but we have different ways of doing it. Tell me about how you work with the Akashic records.
So I took this class from these two ladies from Argentina, and then they, we went through that. It's like you need to connect, of course, with the guardians of the Akashic records, and you need to do some prayers doors and things like that, so they can open up if they need to open up or give you information. And I did that with you. And I'm not a person that does a lot. It's only has to be something that really, it has to come to my life. And
It's not something you're doing in a
Mm-mm.
daily practice.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. And so when you told me, we did that, and I sigh. It's crazy how, like I said, I'm very visual, so I saw you as a big bump just in the space, just exploring. And I said, expansion. You're just expanding, and that wasn't too long after you awake, right? Maybe a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying, "You're just going too fast." Remember,
Yeah.
I told you you're going too fast, and I don't know how to say for you to stop or slow down
I
because
couldn't.
yeah, like for me, like I said, like for me, it's so it could pass 5 years, and I will have a little bit of information or what I think I need. But you were just like, I just saw you just boom, I'm like, I see you like a nova, just exploring
Yeah.
and just getting bigger and bigger in the space, and I'm like, you're expanding.
Yeah.
You'll be. I mean, I don't know. It was meant to be, I guess. The way you're awake and all those gifts that you have awoken to.
Yeah.
And you were preparing for that. You just didn't know.
Yeah. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
So, like now, 4 years later,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's like
you're.
everything connects.
I think what you said, you know who you are. You said this earlier. That you don't have to explain it to anybody, and you're just yourself. So I think sometimes when people are talking about spiritual awakenings, they think that it's something outside, like something, and it can be wild and crazy. But it really, when you go through it, you do come back to yourself, and you understand like why you're here,
And what do you awake to?
and yeah, why
Because-
you're awake, and then nobody else in my family, I don't think they are, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
and like you could just sit back and be the observer.
Yeah.
Rather, I was trying to convert everyone.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
When something really cool is happening to you, you want everybody to know.
Yeah.
You want them to feel the same way. Because it's really cool, even though it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I remember even my daughter, I have my daughter, she's 22, but every time I had to say something, oh my God, this happened to me. She's always so beautiful. She just always listened to me. And I'm like, I'm so happy this is happening to you, Mom. But, it's hard to find people, like, at least for me, when I was in my process of awakening and through it, it was really hard because I didn't have, like, I saw some videos and things like that, but that's when everything else exploded. So, sorry.
That's all right.
So
Nice background music.
So, but yeah, I remember feeling lonely in a way, but that's why I also feel that it wasn't like that explosion that it happened to me. I don't know what I went that,
Yeah.
if I didn't have no one around it, if it would have been like really fast. You know what I mean?
So for me, it was a physical injury that, or maybe it was happening before, and then the injury just kind of snapped me into it even more. Do you feel like when people go through something like a health condition or they have a near-death experience, that's their awakening?
Definitely,
Yeah.
It happened with my husband. Like he had COVID in 2020, I think 2020, 2021. And he got really, really super sick. So, nothing wrong with his lungs. He didn't have no problems breathing or everything, but it was just fever, and then his body just, all his muscles just, it was really hard. There was a time when we gotta just look at each other and just say anything but cry because I thought he was going to die. So he was going to die, but he didn't, and it did change him the way he thinks, the way he sees life. Before it was like, how do I make more money? How, I wanted, he was just all that ego things in his mind. He wanted to have a lot of money, have this and that, and now it's like, like I want to go to Mexico and stay in, where when I
Work on the farm.
work in a farm and with my mom, my mother-in-law. She's 88 years old, and my husband is going again in October, in October. He's gonna stay there like for 4 months, 3 months, and that's okay. And I'm so happy that the way he is, because I see him happy.
Yeah.
I see him that he's not, his ego is not there anymore. He just wanted to live his life peace and happy. And after that, he had another problem where he had to have a big surgery, and also was very scary. And that makes him is like, it's a confirmation that you're gonna be fine, but just follow your heart. And he says he's not awake. Remember the other day we were talking about it? He's like, I feel like I'm awakening, but I don't call him like that. I just don't see life the same as before.
That's
And you're
called
like,
awakening.
the call's awakening. He's like, okay. And we just let him,
Yeah,
And
it's
then
fun to play around with him.
It is.
But do you think, like, those disruptive things in life where people are like, "What happened to me?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened." That's the lead into an awakening.
It is. It
Yeah.
is, because it sometimes you need to have that little shake.
Mhm.
Like, hey, you're here for a reason. What is it? You need to awake. You need to see what's going on around you. This is just a matrix. You need to wake up.
Yeah.
A lot of them is because they became healers like you. A lot of them, you just have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I work in a restaurant for 25 years, and I always like to have people around me. I love it. I love to talk to them. I like the conversations, that energy I like. And then now I'm a teacher with kids, and I love, and I feel literally that that's my, what I have to do in life.
Yeah.
I have to be by kids, just because I can give them all that energy, and they can give it to me back.
Yeah.
It's just that little ripple of energy that is just created, and you be by them and be with them, and if they have problems, let them know that they're okay, and then you're there for them. I don't feel that I can be somewhere else.
And this is a new job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My job, this will be my second
And
year.
it feels like this is your thing.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like where I can just, I see myself as a little bird, and in the beach, and the little bird is walking and just getting in the sand and just feel comfortable. I feel that way.
Yeah.
I see myself like that. So yeah, I think it meant to be. I feel that being where I am, that's my purpose.
Amazing. So, just for the last couple of minutes, for anybody who's going through an awakening or who's had a disruptive event in their life that's shaken everything up, or they're feeling like part of them's dying, what words of advice do you have for anybody who's going through it?
To look for someone around that has the same, or look online. Thank God we have so much information since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Before, we have all these people that are, the pioneers, feeling that way and seeing things and writing all kind of books about it. But now that we have all this technology, thank God that we just see, you guys will be fine. I mean, just going online, just go on YouTube, find support. Because I remember when we met at Camille's, and I thought, now I can say everything, and I just put everything on you. Like it was crazy. I needed that someone that understand what I was going through, because I was going crazy. So you guys will feel like everything is ending, but it's not. It's actually a rebirth.
Yeah.
That you do, that you're going through, and having people around, it's good. It just gets a little bit easier. It won't like heal you and you like, okay, no, but kind of someone that be by you when when the process is going through. Yeah. Because you need someone. And like we here, like you're here, Priya's here. So if they need anything or have any questions, let us know, and we definitely can talk a little bit about that.
Definitely reach out to us. You can see the links in the description. You can also reach out to me at unmutewithpriya.com and connect with Sonia and I. We would love to support you through your journey. And then would love to have you on another time where we go into the Galactic Federation and start talking about
definitely
our families.
I know. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's a
You can
whole
give them
other
a little bit of
episode.
information what we know and how we feel. Like
Yep.
I said, everything is just a feeling. So
Thank you for
you're
joining me
welcome. Thank you
today,
for
and
inviting
thank
me.
you for listening.